when last we left our intrepid adventurers. Okay, now first of all, before we get into the real thing, it's been a long time since either of you have heard these things. You probably don't remember anything, do you?
There was a goat?
There was a goat, yes. Only not anymore, unfortunately.
It's a snake goat now.
Oh, well, that's perfect. Even better.
Okay, well.
With, slavery and freedom?
Yes, something to do with slavery and freedom.
It's a snake with a goat's soul, but the goat doesn't believe it has a soul. That explains it all.
Well, it's a snake. It's a goat with a human soul.
She is.
That's true. A snake with a human soul that thinks it's a goat without a soul.
A dead human who is haunting the goat.
If you're a
who
liar.
is now a snake.
If you believe Brian's lies.
Anyway.
I never do.
Okay, good.
It's a long and complicated story. She's also her own mother, but let's not get into that.
Mother figure.
Mother figure. She's adoptive. Her own adoptive mother.
Yeah, she didn't actually make her. So.
Because she killed her mother apparently or something and anyway.
All right.
Well,
I'm glad we cleared this up for you before we go into the main event. Okay.
Greater good and all that.
Greater good and all that.
Greater good.
So the important background for this session is that it is a time travel campaign. We've been doing a bunch of time traveling.
It's just fucks everything up.
Oh yes, yes. That's why I'm 1,500 years old.
Right.
Yes.
1,506.
And 6. Yes.
Very specific.
Yeah, I got left in the past. Came the long way around and rejoined the party.
Did gain immortality.
Yeah,
obviously,
well,
so
I had to, Anyway, so we're up against a number of different factions that are disagreeable to us. One of them we've dubbed the Time Mages, but they're actually doppelgangers. They are from the place where things that don't exist are.
They really like it there.
Yes, they like not existing. They think that's the ideal state of the universe. And they're heroes. So when they came into reality and discovered that there were things that existed, they thought, we can help. We will make things better for these poor benighted souls who exist. We will make them not exist. And so their latest scheme has been to just sort of wreck up time as much as possible to try and break the time stream, break everything down. And so we came up with a final solution to the. I was thinking, like, how can I put that in different terms? Why should I put that in different terms? It's the correct terms.
Yeah.
We came up with a solution that will finally fix this problem. Anyway.
The problem is they all are like fanatically opposed to existence.
Yeah.
They can travel through times and they're shapeshifters.
So how the heck?
You basically have to get rid of them all.
Yeah, how do we kill all of these guys when they can
Throughout
look like
time.
anyone and be anywhere and any when? So yes, we decide.
It's a bit of a pickle.
We do have a long-term solution where we're going to go back in time and basically dose them with a slow-acting poison when they first appear. Because the problem is we need them to do all the stuff that they did that we have opposed until now. Otherwise, our own personal histories are changed. Our own personal histories have to stay the same, which means we can't just wipe them out as soon as they step out of the portal or whatever it is they came out of. We need to let them try and destroy the world a whole bunch.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of a bit of a background thing. The immediate concern is the fact that they're running around throughout time wrecking stuff. And we can either follow them around and keep putting out brush fires, or we have this ultra-powerful magical artifact that can be used to stabilize time by locking certain points of it so that they can't be changed anymore. We came up with a strategy whereby we go to the latest accessible point in time and do a ritual that locks that, and we go to the earliest accessible point in time and we lock that, and then that will stabilize the timeline between them. We'll still be able to time travel, but making changes won't be as damaging because the ends will be locked. So, a couple of sessions ago, we did the travel into the future one, and that was the hardest one because the problem is if you know things about the future, that becomes your present. And so then when you go into the past, anything you do that is informed by future knowledge can create paradoxes. So if we go to the latest point in time, then basically every other point in time is now the past as far as we're concerned.
You did it in the wrong order.
What was that? No. We did the right order. We needed to do. I figured this would be the hard one, so let's get that out of the way. And I was right. It was the hard one because in order to do it safely, we have to go into the future and not find out anything. So we blindfolded ourselves. We stuffed our ears with wax. We plugged up our noses. Those of us that had good senses of smell. And so we teleported into the future, and we're all like holding on to each other because we. Like that. Can't see. Don't know what's around us. We don't even know how far into the future we went because we were very careful not to find out. And we did the ritual, and we got attacked while we were there.
Yeah, it could have been next Tuesday.
Yep. We were attacked while we were there. We don't know by who. We don't want to know by who.
All that you know.
All we know is
there was
one
some
of them
fire.
There was some fire. A lot of fire. They set us on fire a lot.
There were some very cold thoughts.
They had ways of setting us on like triple fire.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
There were cold thoughts that made you attack your friends.
Right.
And then there were meaty.
There was fleshy tube. One of them had a fleshy tube because one of us bit an attacker and managed to bite off a fleshy tube.
All right.
John will forever regret that little bit of description. But we can't find out anything more than that, and we never will find out anything more than that because we don't want to know.
And then they succeeded.
We succeeded and came back. So
none the wiser.
So then, what we had to do was the next step was go back in time as far as it was possible to go back in time. This isn't necessarily the beginning of the world; it's just as far back as time travel will be able to take, and then do the ritual again. And this is going to be a lot easier, I think, because we're not blindfolded and deafened, and we can actually see and interact with the environment around us.
All you have to do is not kick off a butterfly.
Yes. The only thing is we can't change anything because we're way far in the past and it could have major repercussions.
I suggested they
better.
go back in ethereal. So
Yeah.
that they could.
We wound up not doing that.
One person did. It worked out great.
That was the worst part.
All right. So that's where we left our intrepid adventurers.
So, and that's where things begin, with the actual tale telling and not the recap. So, we teleport back in time, and we immediately arrive at, like, the peak of this ziggurat or something like that. And there is a huge war going on all around us. Thousands and thousands of elves are fighting thousands and thousands of Vrock. Now, in our campaign, elves are elves, and Vrock are these sort of desert scavenger, humanoid vulture things that are considered to be one step above animals. They just scream Vrock at you all the time. That's their language. Vrock, Vrock, Vrock! It means something to them. But these Vrock were like civilized beings. They had clothing and weapons and casting magic, and they said more than Vrock, although they did say Vrock a lot as well. They just said it with inflection and cultured accent and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, and on top of this ziggurat where this huge war is going on, there's this giant statue, and a couple of elves are in these magic circles, and they're casting magic, I think it was, at this giant jewel eye in the statue. And the Vrock are attacking the elves, trying to stop them. And we're like, okay. We're not here to interfere. In fact, we're the opposite. So we managed to sort of scooch over to one corner of this temple top where all this nonsense is going on. However, as soon as we appear, a whole bunch of time mages also appear.
Of course.
Of course.
Because they were expecting it.
Of course, they're expecting us to be here, and they need to stop us, and this is an awesome opportunity to mess with everything.
Yeah.
It's So a whole bunch of time mages appear.
I just wanted to, because at first there was just a handful of them.
Oh, right, the scouts.
And then they saw what was going on with the statue, and some of them disappeared, and then a moment later, a whole ton of them, like 20 plus like 40 minions, all spawn in, and in ignoring the party, they immediately make a beeline to attack the elves.
They just want to mess with stuff. Fortunately, we won initiative, and we were expecting them, so we didn't get a surprise round. Aha! So, they've got 2 Mouths of the Void with them. Yes, a Mouth of the Void is an incredibly powerful time mage. I won't actually start eating until politeness and all. Just getting set up.
Politeness?
Yes. So yeah, fortunately, we won initiative, so we went first. And so we unloaded on them with a whole bunch of dailies. Let's see.
The lure?
The lure got deployed. I don't think it got deployed first. Did it? Who went first there?
I don't remember. It's
the lure got deployed pretty early though. Serendipity, our party mage. Sorry, Serendipity, Van Goldstrad, and Malor. Slayer of the Butcher of Brackenridge, Toppler of Tower, Shepherd of Soul, Strides Through Time, Doom Delayer, Star Lord, End of the End.
Thank you, Miss Salvation of Children.
Salvation of Children, right.
You're losing it,
Does
Brian.
it really count, though, when they were just crisis actors?
That depends on your philosophy of time travel.
Also, I'm the Butcher of Brackenridge, so she didn't do a very good job slaying me, I guess.
And stabbing. Oh, I'm kind of deflated.
So anyway, she casts this spell that it lures all of your enemies into one position. It shifts them all in a cluster. And then once they're all clustered together, it's great for all the area effects and all that kind of stuff. And also for keeping them from going and massacring all these elves and Brock and whatnot. So they all got in one cluster, and then we started unloading our area effects on them. I had a thing that makes them attack each other. So I had them all focus fire on the Mouths of the Void. And I got a critical hit in there that gave me that power back, so I did it again. So we wiped out the Mouths of the Void in the first round.
Oh, man.
And then the rest of them wound up being stunned.
It was particularly bad because I didn't want to track all those hit points, so I just made a thing where every time they hit, or 50 hit points of damage is a disc for the party, but they all are attacking each other and the elves are attacking them, was the idea. And so I'm just like, yeah, every turn, every creature does a disc of damage to its target. That's just how it works. And so then when they made them all attack each other, I was like, I don't want to track that. They'll just each do a disc of damage.
Yeah. So 20 things all attack the Mouths of the Void. It's a tremendous amount of damage.
Standard enemies took 3 discs of damage. The elites took 6, and the solos took 9. So they were solos.
They got squished.
Yeah. Basically, one time mage got a chance to do one action. He tried to attack an elf. Croesus went, wait, and jumped in front of the attack.
Right.
And it hit Croesus, and he rolled, and he took no damage. And then we killed that time mage.
I was actually trying to make this, because after this, the time mages are not a threat, so I was trying to make it like a big boss battle. It was going to be interesting because, the tactics were going to be, they're not even attacking the party, they're attacking the elves. They got to kill them before they kill the elves.
Whenever they hit the elves, Jenga blocks will be pulled, etc.
Yeah. Instead,
we locked them down and just annihilated them. And we were using entirely friendly fire tactics and stuff like that.
I think what I should have done is given the party a cinematic point and let them split up first or something, because I felt they could only teleport in all together, which put them in a tactically terrible situation. But I felt like that was it wouldn't make sense any other way. And I'd already done the you disappear and come back while the party did nothing thing. I felt like saying, and then they also run away. We had bridged too far, but maybe I should have done because I've done that in the past where I'm like, yeah, the enemies just do this thing, get into this interesting situation while you do nothing. Here's a free cinematic point.
Right.
That's probably what I should have done, but I didn't.
Maybe they could have accelerated themselves to high velocity before they went into the time portal. And then as soon as they come out, they go zinging off in various directions.
I mean, they have fireballed people through portals.
That's true.
That's true. I should have... Oh well.
It's alright. As it turns out, the time mages weren't the big threat anyway. As soon as we finished squishing the time mages, this creepy elf doctor showed up who was doing horrible spells that were wilting the rock and turning them into goo, and it was horrible.
I was talking about putting them to sleep. Sleep. He'll go to sleep now, and then they would horribly die.
And she saw us. Some of the elves saw us. Did any of the rocks see us?
Probably.
I'm sure some of them saw it. And so she decided to attack us. And we're like, we can't retaliate. And she's doing these horrible wilting spells on us. Now, here's the weird twist. Croesus, on the spur of the moment, came up with a brilliant plan. It was. Yeah. He declared and rolled a bluff check. And he was like, oh no, or aha, we, the illusions that the rock have cast to distract you from the actual battle, are succeeding in distracting you. And he rolled like 19 or something, because he's not really good at bluffing at all. And everyone else was like, help, I'm helping, yes, aha, I rolled a 57, alright, I helped. And managed to just barely squeak it out.
And now we must disappear. So they jumped off the ledge.
Jumped off the building.
And they saw the doctor being like so annoyed that she'd fallen for it. Because the only reason she attacked the party was she saw a type of creature she'd never put to sleep before, and she really wanted to put a new kind of creature to sleep, even though it wasn't really an optimal tactic.
So we all jumped off the building, except Ben Gerard, who used his phasing power to phase straight down through the roof.
Right.
Into the treasure vaults below.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Exactly.
Ben Gerard.
There we go.
He can steal the first thing.
He can steal the first thing, yes. And that was where that session ended. We're doing a double retelling here, so...
Right.
So that was the cliffhanger that it ended on. We're like, oh, holy crap. Aram Ben Gerard is unsupervised, able to walk through walls, and in a treasure chamber.
This is not going well.
So the phasing didn't work well for them.
Yeah. So anyway, Aram Ben Gerard has very sticky fingers, in case you didn't know the character. And we're not allowed to steal anything. So, next session began.
Now, one thing that had happened was around the time they ran away, or shortly thereafter or something, the elves succeeded in destroying the statue. And it broke into a bajillion parts and exploded, and there was this huge, there was like a moment of silence, and then this huge screech went up from the rocks, and from that epicenter, and they all just started screeching in this, going out from there, screaming Vrock, and then they all just went berserk and started attacking everything and going totally berserk. The city went into chaos. I mean, it was already a battle going on. Lamps got knocked over, stuff started on fire. Everything just went to total crap.
Yeah. There was some kind of magical backlash that broke the Vrock's brains, essentially. And thus we find out why it is that the Vrock are like that in the current time. It must have broken their genitals, too, because their descendants are also like that.
Maybe it broke their souls or something. You've already determined souls are hereditary.
It's true. That makes sense. So, the new session begins, and we're in the distant past. The Vrock have all gone mad. Aram Ben Gerard is away and unsupervised. Now, Aram Ben Gerard immediately appears in like a treasure vault. There's like piles of gold and jewels and awesome artifacts and all that kind of stuff. And we all gear up with the Jenga tower, like, okay, here we go. Give us the damage. Mm-hmm. And Robin is like, Aram walks past all of that down the hall. And we're like, wow, okay. And she gets to, or he gets to a library, and John mentions that like this brazier had been knocked over and the library was starting to catch on fire. And Aram was like, yes, all these books are going to be burned, so I'll just take them. They won't affect the past at all.
My books now.
So he goes and finds the best book, whatever looks like the best book. He judges them by the cover, but, you know, whatever. He doesn't speak Vrock, so he grabs this book. It's got this jewel-encrusted cover. It's awesome. We point out the jewels probably won't burn, so he takes a knife and starts popping all the jewels off so they'll be left behind. At which point, a Vrock bursts into the room with this crazed expression, but sort of half-crazed, like he's struggling with the madness that has gripped his mind. Mm-hmm. And he's got the gem from the eye, the statue.
Okay.
And we're like, no, Gerard, don't.
No, Kubo, don't.
Ben Gerard hides, and this Vrock comes stumbling in and finds a particular book on the shelf, grabs it, opens it up. There's a talisman hidden inside the book, and he uses this talisman to cast a spell on the stone, turns it into a rock claw.
Rock claw?
Claw. And then he cuts off his own claw and sticks it on, and then succumbs to the madness and goes screeching out of the room.
Huh.
So, Ben-Gerard follows him. And at about this point, Katydid manages to catch up to Ben-Gerard, my familiar. Because as a muse sprite, she has this special ability that lets her deliver a written message to anyone within 5 miles of me. So I'd sent her with a message to Ben-Gerard.
Oh, that's
It actually didn't matter what the message said, because
Brian has learned a way to game the rules.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
what we're about to find out.
well, I'm the second coming of Anthedon now, so. So anyway, Katydid reaches Ben-Gerard, and as soon as she does, I activate the homing collar that she is wearing. It's a familiar magic item. There are very few familiar magic items, but this is one of them. It allows me to teleport to the same square that my familiar is in.
Oh, okay.
Normally, a familiar can only go like 20 squares from you or something during combat or whatever like that, but I can send mine 5 miles away to a particular person.
Right.
I just realized something, though. You need line of effect for teleport. Sorry to ruin your little game.
Sure,
Yes.
because I was able to teleport.
Well, apparently it worked that time. Because I wasn't thinking about it.
Well, I teleported her. And
It was when he was up on top of the ziggurat, so he
Yeah.
almost had line of effect anyway.
Yeah. And
It wasn't exactly a ziggurat, but whatever. It's more like a giant.
was a
I was imagining
ziggurat.
it like a fantasy, as in like epically oversized, almost like Roman giant construction with a giant statue on the top.
all right.
More than a ziggurat.
So Ben-Gerard wants to go after this Vrock, who's now flying off over the city. And I tell him, no, it's all right. I'll pursue, because I'm not dependent on Panadar.
Yeah.
You can't get out of range of Panadar, you'll die. So Ben-Gerard heads back to the party, and I whip out my broom of flying and head off after this Vrock. And after pursuing for a while, it's basically evident that he's just booking it. He's just flying off in some random direction. And meanwhile, back at the temple, Serendipity has finished her ritual to lock down time, so the party's ready to go. So I decide to abandon the pursuit and head back. But the important thing is, we now know that there's this super awesome magic gem that's probably really awesome, disguised as a claw of rock. Oh, and we grabbed the book that had that talisman in it as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, anyone who heard the story of the backstory of this, what happened here, knows what that gem is.
Yeah, we don't, but we know it's probably very important and very useful and valuable and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. None of the characters know what it is.
So we'd like to find it, but it's not a high priority because we're trying to save the world.
Yeah, the
first.
world needs to not
Yeah.
die.
So we travel back to the present. A fairly successful adventure all around.
Yeah.
So, in hindsight, we probably could have stolen that gem because I don't know if it did anything between then and now. Whatever. So we arrived.
You pulled no jungle blocks to take the
Yeah,
talisman.
the talisman was going to burn.
He was
Apparently,
in the burning library.
Yep. And
Was the
apparently,
talisman not made of...
it was made entirely of paraffin or something. I don't know.
Now Gerard has this plan to find out all the places where like things burn down and go back there and steal all the stuff before it burns.
Only I had to kind of mention to him that I'd already done that. That was one of the things I did over the course of the 1500 years.
Oh, I forgot that part.
All the various artifacts and stuff that were quote-unquote lost to history, I knew what they would be and where they would be and stuff, so I stole them and put them in vaults. That was one of the things I had to sort of say to get Gerard on board with my scheme.
And then you got the Simpsons did it.
So we arrive back in the present and take stock. Turns out that talisman is just this really awesome artifact or awesome item that lets you transmute objects into other objects in such a way that they're like scry-proofed.
Nice.
So, it's basically a device purpose-built for hiding this gem as rock claw so that you can't find it unless you know exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
Which no one does.
And now there's a antediluvian dead rock somewhere.
We did some scrying. The claw has been passed down from rock to rock.
Oh, okay. Right.
Their leader still has it. They must have a strange coronation ritual. But anyway, The other book, the one that used to have gems in it, was basically just a big book of lost magic. John says we can each make up a ritual.
Ah,
I have some ideas.
a rocky ritual.
Well, I mean, it was invented by the Brock, but
Yeah.
back then they were like super intelligent, wizardy types. So, yeah. But we didn't have a lot of time to delve into all that because the next crisis comes along. The Warforged are making a move. They've apparently received some orders through their network of communication stones or whatever, and they've all dropped whatever it is they were doing or not doing. And they're all mustering their forces in war camps outside all the major cities of the world.
Oh,
People are shocked at how many of them there are.
right.
Because they're coming out of the woodwork, and maybe even there's more coming. Hard to tell.
Yeah. And so, as is always the case with the Warforged, the first thought is like, okay, what? Huh? What? Why are they doing this? Who knows? It's a random thing they're doing. But they're mustering in war camps, so that's kind of a bad sign. So I stealth into the war camp that is mustering outside the city in the Empire where the Temple of Freedom is. And I steal their communication stone and replace it with cheese.
That has been transmuted to look like communication stone by the book, or by the talisman they just got.
And then I take this communication stone, bring it back, and we analyze it and try and figure out, okay, can we figure out what their orders are and all that sort of stuff.
Can we hack into their network?
Yeah. And we find out there's a countdown encoded in the carrier signal.
What if you give the aliens a code?
What was it, a day and a half? Something like that?
Yeah, it was like midday, and it's like sundown tomorrow.
Well, luckily you can time travel.
Somewhat. It gives us a little bit of extra wiggle room. But we can't prevent that order from having been given. Turns out orders were given a couple days ago that this countdown is going to trigger. And even if we stop the countdown, it's not going to stop the orders from going off because they already have their orders. So, we got a day and a half, and it turns out in order to countermand the orders, to hack the network, we have to go find its source. We can't do it remotely. So we got to go find the obelisk, assuming it's the obelisk that's in charge of all this, which seems likely, but so that we can either get it to rescind the order or force it to, or hack the network and do that. And we could only do that after the order was originally given, so we have an extra day or two of buffer that we're able to get through time travel.
Yeah.
So we're off to do that. That's where the current session ended. So yes, the big remaining threat is the Warforged, because we've been studiously ignoring them the whole campaign.
They were debating about doing the
They're just trying to make the world a better place. Provably optimally.
Actually they had a big argument in the tent while Cricket was there, because one of them said optimality is in the eye of the beholder, and then that made the other ones really mad.
Oh,
and then the
wow.
other guy tried to backpedal, but it just
Yeah. They had a religious argument.
yeah. So they were talking about, because there's the final cleanup on the Time Mages, but the Time Mages void creatures are basically, they're neutralized. They're not a threat in any meaningful way anymore. All they can really do now
Is kill us in our childhoods.
they can still, so they have to be eliminated, because they can still go back in time and kill the party in their childhood, and they're going to keep doing that until they get rid of them. But they have no plan that is going to cause impending doom for reality anymore.
Yeah.
The best they can do is try to make another end of all things. That's going to take 500 years.
Yeah.
And
And we've already killed one of those twice.
yeah.
So yeah.
So they're eliminated as a major threat, but the cleanup hasn't been done. And they were debating doing the cleanup, and I was wondering how it was going to go, because I said the other factions' plans keep marching on.
Right.
And so if they'd done the cleanup first, they would have come back to the Warforged having attacked all the major cities. But instead, they chose to investigate the Warforged first. So
They figured they were the higher threat now, so focus on them.
What were all the threats again? There was, I guess you are the Empire now, so that threat has been
that's how they eliminated
resolved.
the four besides the party, the 4 time travelers were Aurora's brother. They killed him right away.
Right.
The Serpent Queen. Well,
I am
now
the Serpent
she's
Queen.
the Serpent Queen. The Time Mages, their plan's been neutralized, but they have to still be eliminated. I think at this point, since they chose not to do it right away, it'll probably be an epilogue thing. It's not. It'll be easy. and
It'll be time consuming.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or as we're working on the Warforged, they might, kill us in our childhoods at a very inconvenient moment.
Right.
That would be very annoying.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure they'll have some
Alright.
sort of annoying death throws.
Yeah.
And then there's the Warforged, which they don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
Except they did not lay siege. They did just pillage and destroy Allenway and say we're going to just keep killing people until the party is killed.
But who
Right.
hasn't destroyed Allenway? We've destroyed Allenway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that at some point you'll destroy Allenway.
Yeah, I mean, it does cost 1 point less.
But
It's not
they were
spelled
like, they probably already killed everyone by now. There's nothing we can do. But I pointed out, no, a lot of people fled and they're living in squalid refugee camps just outside the distance a Warforged can go in a day to kill them, starving to death. So
I think maybe they should move. Yeah.
well, some of them have moved, but a lot of them are like, no, Allenway is our home. It's the safest city in the world. No, they didn't say that because otherwise you'll be like, let them die.
I mean, technically, safest city in the world.
So
Other than all the catastrophes that keep happening.
Well, it's protected against all those catastrophes.
Yeah.
It's protected against volcanoes, lightning volcanoes,
Light.
Yeah.
Yep, that
earthquakes.
happens. It got destroyed
It's
by
protect-
lava from a volcano that was half a planet away that fired it in a perfect arc that hit
Exactly
Allenway.
hit it.
And then later on, there was this huge lightning storm that destroyed Allenway. And then later on, there was this huge lightning storm that hit that volcano, electrifying the lava, which then fired out of the volcano and hit the city.
Allenway.
and it was protected against lava and lightning, but not lava lightning.
Yeah.
Together it overcame.
Yeah.
But now it's protected against lava lightning.
Yeah. I think it's. What else is it protecting?
It has a giant wall to protect it against that city on wheels, so it doesn't
Yeah.
go over it.
Yeah.
It's protected against doppelgangers, but unfortunately that just means no shapeshifters can pass the
Right.
walls.
Right.
There's still tons in it.
Yeah.
What if they stop shape-shifting?
I think a doppelganger is a doppelganger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The void creatures can't get through the magic barrier.
Yeah, the void creatures can't get in and out, but unfortunately there's like hundreds of them still in,
Still in
so
there, yeah.
that didn't really help them that much.
They're warded against earthquakes. That was us.
So basically, whenever something terrible happens, they make up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're the safest city in the world. All these horrible things can't happen
But
to them.
terrible things keep happening because they're also the epicenter of time travel.
Yeah.
So when someone breaks the time travel paradox rules and time tower topples, generally it topples on Allenway. That was the secret that John came up with
Yeah.
to explain Ferret's Allenway gets wrecked rule.
Yeah.
Also, elves just suck in general, as we found out. They
Just because Kalimar? Is that
Well,
is that your basis?
I mean, they came over and they seemed to be under a curse. And then when we did the microscope session,
Right.
it was why are the elves cursed? How do the
Right,
elves
yes.
become
That guy.
cursed?
Which guy?
No,
Kalimar?
it's me specifically.
Oh.
No, I didn't. It was Ferret actually.
Ferret made Allenway blow up and gave them the curse.
Yeah, he said that. He said they were cursed, and he said if you do anything bad to the elves, it costs one less point.
Right.
And then he did a few bad things to Allenway, and I think people just hopped on the
Is
bandwagon.
that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was cheap. It was like it only cost like 2 points to do a bad thing to Allenway.
Yeah.
So then
So every time someone has something left over, they were like, nah, and Allenway gets wrecked.
Oh, yeah, like the world building when y'all had like a certain amount of points in action.
Yeah, that was fun. Poor Allenway.
Yeah.
But it did have a great explanation as to why that happened.
So yeah,
Time travel.
next time we're tracking down where the Warforged come from, and we're gonna put a stop to their nonsense. First, we'll find out what their nonsense is, and then we'll put a stop to it.
Or you'll agree with it.
Seems unlikely.
one thing is when they asked the questions of fate or something.
Yeah, I cast
They
a
said
ritual,
that
but-
Croesus should go because an Oblin would be good and Croesus would be better because he can fix anything.
Yeah.
They tried to ask him what the obelisk said to him, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
Which,
Last time he talked to the obelisk, when he would talk to the sending stones, way back when the Warforged first kind of started waking up, he talked to the obelisk, who's like, that's like the closest thing the Oblin have to a god.
Yeah.
They made him, but
yeah.
they listened to him because he's he's like encoded to tell them the right things, and he told him that he was broken and he should probably kill himself.
Right, yeah.
So that didn't go over so well with Croesus. That made him very upset.
Yep.
I mean, Croesus was pretty broken. Oh, and that's right, you erased Conan the Barbarian from history.
Yep.
Monster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he still existed. He just was nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was mine.
He probably never went by that name, or well, maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah.
He probably never got that title.
Yeah.
He was just a guy.
He was well known because they had a snake. They had the Empire of Atlas had that snake emperor, right, the Immortal Serpent Queen, and so Conan the Barbarian cut her head off.
Appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed that.
This feels vaguely familiar.
Vaguely.
Unrelatable.
Yeah. Now it was my own general who did it.
Yeah.
It was a military coup.
You and your retconning.
Yeah. Brian retconned a lot.
Oh yeah.
Time travel, allowing me to undo all of your terrible world building.
And replace them with my own terrible world building decisions.
So we're off. We're changing our focus onto the Warforged and the obelisk. I feel like we're missing something though, and I can't put my finger on it.
I have to know. I have to feel it again. It may not be a good idea, but I've got to do this.
Wow, we went back before the dawn of history to times completely forgotten, and we recovered ancient lore and secrets that I don't know if any living person or non-person has any inkling of. But we have no time to explore that right now. My people need me. Again, the Empire is going to war. This time not one of its choice. I must protect it. I must stop this war. And we're on a very tight deadline, but off we go. I will stop this war. Protect my people.
So what I'm thinking is we need to go back in time to... First we need to research when there were house fires and library fires and, like really, really hot. Or lava, where a volcano exploded right over top of a magical area. And then just go back in time to right before and, just take a look around. Doesn't hurt anything.
You do realize I've already collected most of those.
What do you mean?
Over the past 1,500 years, I knew when that sort of thing was going to happen, and so I had most of those books squirreled away in vaults.
So what are they? Vaults? Did you say in vaults?
Yes, you remember. That was the deal. I was going to... Yeah.
Don't tell me where they are. I want to find them myself.
All right. I will construct all manner of clever traps. Puzzles.
Not too clever.
Rolling boulders. Can't stop the rock.
I wonder if there's any rolling boulders in the dry jungle.
We really need to get out of the habit of taking things from the past too dangerous. Stop it. No.